I don't think they were already in the house. They heard a noise downstairs. Okay. And they were a little panicked. I see a screen on in the room. I don't think it's a TV. I thought a laptop or a computer, like there was a computer in the background. I saw not many lights, except I see lights off from the apartment outside. I heard a car pull up. When we talk about, yes, I've had all these theories of, you know, it was the butler who did it, or it was the neighbor, it was somebody. What I can tell you is there's a lot of blunt force. There's a lot of force in these arms. Okay, so I don't think this is a weak person. No alcohol too, so.
Well, that certainly says that in the chart. It shows a lot of alcohol or drugs.
So one of the things that we were going to do, and we were going to talk about that later on, maybe leave that to the next episode, is communicating with the victims here. So we've got four victims. I'm getting one female, I think the darker hair female, and I'm also getting the young man.
Ethan and Xana.
I'm looking at a trail of people that they've passed by in the earlier hours of the evening. Nobody they did not recognize, but the bar, something about the bar. And I almost feel they could have been followed by a car home. But they didn't act till later because I see a car without lights on. I think it was covered with a hat or ski mask. It's chilly. It feels cool out at night, I think, with a hat. I'm seeing some pretty good boots on them. Like I'm getting work boots on at least one. But I don't sense a lot of hair because of the way the hat fit. I don't think they were employees at the school or at the bar. They have been seen before. Look, I'm getting a real serial killer type presence. I feel also escape, although like escape out of the area. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, what's very strange is that news conference thing that happened with all the news trucks and stuff. I'm getting a feeling that there was a witness, or maybe one of the perpetrators was there watching. I'm getting something about a gymnasium at the school. And believe me, sometimes in these cases, I don't just draw to one fact. I'm giving kind of a list because they don't have much to go on right now. So anything that I come upon that seems a little suspicious, a gymnasium or something there, I would see who's on parole and who was on parole from this year in that area. And I'm also going to, where's Tacoma? Is that Washington? I'm getting Tacoma. Hold on, I'm going Boise though. Boise, Idaho. Oh, check release records for inmates in those places. If I'm narrowing down police records of escapees, Tacoma, Boise, two places I'm getting, any prison system near there, I would say a release date. Actually, I was getting a J, so either January or July.
Marion says, I think it's a local former student that frequents the bar Kaylee works at. It does seem like a stalking situation. In astrology, the sixth house is stalking. There's a grand trine. The second house is money. Okay, it's money and food. It's so odd. It has something to do, like, if you were just to look at this and not know anything about this crime, you might say there was jealousy there.
Who is the girl with the dark hair? What was her name?
It was Xana.
So she's saying she saw him in a car. So whoever the stalker was, she saw him in a car. I think it was either outside of the bar. I think so, because it seemed like a public sort of place. So
Okay.
there was something of suspicion of somebody in a car, a vehicle. I kept saying the parking lot, and I'm getting something about that.
You are saying that you're channeling Xana right now, the dark-haired
She has
victim.
a lot to say.
She first laid eyes on this person when she was in the car.
She saw his taillights, and he was looking in the mirror. And where they came out, I'm not sure it was the front of the bar or actually the rear of the bar. It feels a little bit more dark there, like it was in the rear of the bar. You know, the lights, I know it sounds a little strange, but I've got a Toyota truck, and I know I mentioned a truck, but the lights look like that on my Toyota truck. They're very unique. They've got like little dots around the rear light, the brake light.
Yeah, some of the commenters are talking about maybe a Tacoma
Yeah,
truck.
that's what I have, a Tacoma.
Well, when you were saying Tacoma, Washington, maybe that's what you were.
Oh, usually not, but I
Okay.
wouldn't pass it by, sure.
Throw out all of the things that we're thinking about the girls being stalked. You're saying that Xana and Ethan were being stalked.
But I
Okay.
saw somebody in the car waiting. The windows just looked smoky, like there was either smoke in there or a vape in there or something.
Mhm.
I'm also got the word black as possibly something on the car or like a sticker, but I saw something like that says black.
Okay.
Um, so I just feel followed.
Followed. Okay, followed outside of the parking lot.
Yeah, whichever it is, the fraternity or the bar. The two girls, though, they're the blonde-haired ones.
Yes.
Okay. No, I think it was, I could be wrong here, but I think it was our dark-haired girl who saw something.
But they didn't get home until 1 or so. We don't know where they were. So that might explain that maybe they went to another place, like a bar, and that's where this person saw them. I don't know.
I'm getting the feeling that they were in town somewhere. I did talk about, and I always go back to my first clues. I did talk about a gas station
Mhm.
at one point, and it's possible they were at a gas station as well. I'm sure the police have some video if they were at local businesses that evening.
I think we're about to see more video because what you get in this crime chart is when you see, let me show you. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but when you
Mhm,
see Neptune, that's video. And in the
mhm.
sixth house, it can be a place of work. It's trining Mercury, so that could be a food truck. Mercury is transportation. And second house, like a truck making money or a food truck. Okay. But there's a camera there. I think that's not the only video we're going to see. We're going to see some more. Why? Because Jupiter is, it's, it means a lot. It's amplified.
Well, they had some video at the fraternity party too going on
But
from
the key,
phones, you know.
yes, okay, and then Wendy says they've never confirmed the time frame for Ethan and Xana. They were at the fraternity and back at the house by 1:45, but they don't seem to have confirmation they were there at all that time. So that's really the key. The key potentially is to find out where Ethan and Xana were.
I'm not getting more than 2 hours at the party or an hour and 45 minutes.
Here's a question that's interesting. Are police purposely misleading the public?
they're trying to keep people calm. I think they've got a lot of patrols out. I think they've been randomly stopping people, I get. So I don't see that, but the only people that are really in charge would be the detectives. So I think they're the ones working on it, but the police are just the ones trying to. I think there's a lot of afraid people there.
Here's something I'm going to throw out. With Neptune being so strong, it seems as if Neptune and Jupiter, Neptune can be criminals. Jupiter is a lot of criminals, can mean jail, can be somebody who works at a jail. And you were saying something like work release or something like that. You were seeing that somehow. But with the second house, that trine there, and I'm going to circle this, that can show drugs that are valuable. And maybe this person was doing something and saw them.
What day of the week was this that it happened?
This was Sunday in the early morning. So it was
well, they discovered them.
They were discovered that like it was at 12 in the afternoon. And that's a whole other discussion that everybody talks about, because it was like, why did it take so long? You go out and you party and then you lie in your bed for a little while and you look at your, texts or whatever. And before you know it, it's 12 o'clock, or you're not even going. Like, why would they go into their bedrooms?
It was Sunday. I mean, you're talking a bunch of young people who probably sleep in. Everybody at their dorms or wherever were probably sleeping in. The only thing I want to know about is the girls that were downstairs, because I'm not getting much from them. I know there were some other people that lived there. Is that correct?
Yeah, it seemed like there were at least 6. There's rumor about how there were more people. There's a whole bunch of people. And you've said this a couple of times. You were like, well, there was work being done as of like midnight. And it was like, well, wait a minute. How is that possible? I don't know if anybody was even there, but you keep seeing that there was a laptop that was open. So somebody was maybe online.
I don't see everybody in bed.
Yeah. Hi, Jen. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, Christina says it's common for college kids to wake up at noon. So, put your efforts into other things like where did Ethan go? Those are the victims' cars, I'm assuming. I would skip this, but heck, you might be able to get something.
Not a happy job.
No.
I mean, I suppose the one good thing is this is not like in a small town like where I live or somewhere, because it feels they're more equipped to deal with this.
The roommate situation is one of the most confusing parts of this case.
Most likely look, you and I've worked on some suspicious cases, especially with the people investigating. Okay, we're currently working on one, right? So I won't dismiss all theories, but I'm not detecting that they're hiding anything. But I do believe that the parents have some influence. I do also believe that they could have been hiring their own detectives on this too. Private detectives.
Island Girl is saying, was any of the victims found on the sofa? And you had seen a couch. So
I saw a couch is significant here.
Okay. They'll probably get some DNA, hopefully, from that.
I don't know if these victims, I don't think they were in one place. I believe they were moved.
You believe they were moved. Okay, that's interesting. Donna says she thinks you're going to pick up something once you see the inside of the house, and we're going to show those
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. It looks it looks kind of as I imagined, but I kept seeing a light somewhere, and maybe it's down like the road or something like that, where I'm seeing an outdoor light that's kind of bright.
This guy seems fit to me. It doesn't seem like he's out of shape, but I really believe this was fueled by like maybe anger, but also drugs, like discussion about how they were stabbed in the chest a couple of times, in areas where it seems as if the perp knew it was fatal. So, like you
That's
said,
what yeah, it was not you know, out of control thing. It was very controlled. One other thing I am getting is I am getting some like something over their heads, possibly like a bag or something covering their heads. I once said they were gagged, but I got something like their eyes were closed, or their eyes were not visible. So that downstairs door was the one used, wasn't it?
yeah, yes,
The kitchen, which level?
that's where the screen or that's where the sliding door was. So that's where what we just saw on the back side of the house. And then there's one floor above that. So what you were seeing, I think, was that they went through here and then went up the stairs.
I believe so.
This is the second, first floor
You
bedroom.
mean the basement, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what they mean. The
Okay.
second level is here,
Okay.
third floor. This is one of the areas they came up.
I saw the stairs. And
Yeah.
hold on. There's something, I don't know the how or why, but I kept getting a closet as significant in this house. And I believe it's not far from where the stairs are. So the closet, if the police, I do this oftentimes on cases, they want to know where to get fingerprints or they want to know where to get some kind of evidence. So I'll point them to an area. But the closet seemed significant to me.
And they were saying that the dog was put in another room. I don't know. You were mentioning the closet, but
Well, no, the dog wouldn't be in the closet. I'm saying the people were. I'm getting something about the people in the closet. Dog might have been in a closet or actually, I'm getting a bathroom. So I'm getting 4 people. I'm getting different levels of the house. I'm seeing these guys going upstairs. I also see them going downstairs. So I do believe, I don't think they're all tucked in bed and murdered. I do believe there was some shuffling around, like some were hiding, very possibly. Um,
yeah.
and I thought I saw a closet. And then I also see a couch is significant too. The total time of this could have been around 50 minutes.
Okay.
So we're talking a good deal of time. Um, Weapons already in hand and everything else they need. I do believe they were wearing gloves though, because I'm not seeing much for fingerprints.
Okay.
I'm getting more females too, so they might have been the other ones living down in the basement area. For some reason, they were targeting these individuals, and I don't think the basement meant like they weren't going after everybody in the house. With
Brian
all
says
that,
Brian says the main target had to be the third floor. What I really want to put more emphasis on Ethan and Xana. How did they see the back of his car?
like parked, like in a parking lot, you have
Oh,
cars parked, and then you see a car lit up. You see a guy in there just kind of looking at you through the mirror.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, something like that.
So he was sitting there, he was waiting in the
At
car.
at one of these places, whether it was the party or whether it was the bar or both, there's a possibility of also in town because there's that lapse of time that they didn't return home. Do you know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Yep.
So you would have to check, and this is the thing. People think a psychic says, "Well, you should know exactly where it is." No, I'm
Yeah.
following their footsteps.
Okay.
So we don't have very many places to go. We just have a fraternity party, a bar, and then we have what, a food truck and the town. So we don't have very many places to check. There's going to be witnesses, and I think there's been a lot of witnesses questioned at some of the out of school areas.
Well, I'm seeing Saturn in this chart, and Saturn means when somebody waits. You see this, like there was this one crime in South America where they waited across the street, and Saturn showed, where they were. Here in the fifth house, they could have waited. Fifth house is party. It's also a park, and there's an Aquarius clue there. Like it's near something that's electronic. It's near a tower. It could be a park that is named something that's science related. Or Aquarius related, like a dumb example would be like Aquarius Park, but it would be something like
Yeah, I get a town clock too. Like
okay.
I get a old looking clock on a post or something out in one of the streets. If that's a clue.
Yeah, that's a clue. But Saturn is at 18 degrees. 18 is the evil degree, and it can show a person that's evil, that's waiting. And because it's trining Mars, which also represents the perp, that could be the second person. So one person has that profile of the ninth house, might be in a car, but then there's another person that's waiting for the other person.
By the way, Tiffy asks how many. I feel at least two
Yeah.
perpetrators.
Yes, and Tiffy, if you wanna get more information, do we already put two videos out? And we talk about how we think it's more than one. Oh, this is interesting. There's a clock in this area near Mad Greek where they have benches and lights in the trees. Main Street and 5th. There you go. You were looking at 5, and
Looking at
we've always said 5th Street or Main
that.
Street and 3rd. I'd have to look at the map again. There would be a really good clue, like who's got, and that everybody's pulling their CCTV right now. They want to see something. I think a lot of it is they don't know what to look for. But if you're saying that it's a car parked, it might be a truck, somebody shady parked at a truck
Yeah.
clock tower.
The place where the car truck was parked feels like it was a lot or a
Mhm.
housing lot. It doesn't feel like parallel parking on the street. Um, it doesn't feel like an indoor garage. It does feel outside. Let me see what else I get. The cloth in the truck or car feels checked. It feels like I was just getting like a checkered design for some reason. I know it sounds weird, but one other clue is I feel that there could have been some kind of liquor bottles or something thrown or near where the truck or vehicle was parked. I'm getting like strong stuff, not just wine, but like vodka or something like that. I'm seeing a green bottle. Hold on. A possibility of a parking pass in this vehicle as well. I see something hanging like a parking pass. Ooh. Are there passes to go into the school area or into in their city? Maybe you need a parking pass for a certain place. Maybe it's a workplace. I once said there was a recycling center or a town dump. Maybe what would you need a parking pass for? I smell water. Was it raining or snowing or melting?
Yeah.
I smell water. I get like wet feet.
I know that some people want to hear a lot more about what the perps look like. And yes, we think it's two. If it's not two, it's one and an accomplice. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
I think it could be two cars because Mars is in Gemini. It's twins. It's two twin boys. It's girls that look alike. There's a lot of twin energy. Twin road because the ninth house is roads. There could be two roads that are alike, which I saw a couple of them in that neighborhood. There could be a road that shows like an Army helicopter, which is around the corner. There's a couple of ways that you could look at Mars in Gemini. And thank you guys. Just getting some nice comments. Fairy Magic wants to know, Todd, is he a maintenance person? Another good question.
So maintenance people, I'm getting the feeling of people that work outside. So it could be maintenance, but I'm not getting somebody that's inside a lot. When somebody is in our invisible sphere, in our invisible world, they don't know all the answers, but they can relay some of the things that they did see. But just because we passed doesn't mean that we know exactly what happened and what went on.
I would like to know what Xana saw.
Her friend, what was his name?
Ethan.
Ethan. Almost thought it was him. It was very dark. She did not realize these were intruders coming in.
Possible that something is happening and somebody went to the bathroom and then the person came in thinking that the person's coming back from the bathroom. That's a possibility. Possible.
Yes, taken by surprise is what I get. Not held hostage, taken by surprise is what I'm getting. I do hear some, whoa, okay. I'm hearing a very low-pitched scream, like crying for help, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Not high pitch, low. And that was in the lower, not the lowest, but the middle level that I heard that. I'm getting flashlights in there, flashlights being used. The only thing that I see left behind is something that's a silver color. Don't know if it's a lighter or maybe a wrapper of something, but I'm getting articles of either paper or something in pockets, maybe. But there was, I think you're right, something left behind as some evidence. And somebody wrote, they appear direction. Well, yeah, I think they do have stuff to go on. What do they have going on? Let me see. They're making a lot of calls out of town for some reason. So instead of just questioning locally, they are somehow I feel that they're concentrating on a lead that's outside of the area right now, is what I'm getting.
With
Maybe it has to do with Washington or another part of Idaho. I'm not getting everybody asleep.
there's speculation that the knife tip broke, and that's how they know what kind it was. And here's another thing. When you see Mercury playing such a big part in the stellium of planets in the second house, people who are ruled by Mercury, Geminis or Virgos, they have this sense, of course, they love, they love words. They have this, it's like a superpower. They can hear much better than other people.
I like swear words.
Yeah. they hear then, and they smell better. If somebody's doing something like around the corner and down the street, they can hear it and they know about it. So in a chart, it shows like eavesdropping. So I wonder if they were eavesdropping on, Xana and Ethan. They were waiting.
Very, very possible. The other girls, I am not getting much from as far as clues, and I'm going to concentrate on them next. So I feel between Ethan and this girl that this is one of the main people gone after.
Christina thinks, she says, Xan and Ethan were not targets, in my opinion. They were collateral. So
they were down, though, in that level. For some reason, they feel the first victims.
Yeah. Haha, so true. I can relate being Virgo Gemini. Like you, sometimes you'll eavesdrop and you don't even know it. Like you know what people are saying. Like in this chart, Venus is, wow. Venus is the victim. Okay. Venus next to Mercury. Mercury's the twin. Okay.
By the way, Liz asks about to be a serial killer. It has to be more than one incident. Well, I guess that's true, although I do feel that these people have killed before. They knew this was not an amateur. So I definitely get felon records, and I also think that they've killed before.
Mercury is the twin planet. It's right next to Venus, which is Ethan. Ethan is a twin. He is Scorpio. Sun is the perpetrator. It's the second planet of the perpetrator. And it's like he's listening to them. But it's in the second house. And I wonder, second house is a small space. So he might, I don't know if he could have been in the closet or whatever. But anyway, all of that, of course, South Node in there with the rest of those planets, which is the little horseshoe in that stellium there. Something was left behind. Obviously, that's the victims. He left victims behind. But what I'm trying to get at is that it clearly shows the twins. So what does money have to do with it? I don't know.
They might have heard what happened downstairs before they came upstairs, is what I feel. The closet.
Maybe money is the credit card fraud that Todd mentioned. Oh, thank you, Courtney. I forgot about that. That's true. Credit card. There's some credit card and credit card statements. Okay. So that's going to be a big clue. Since Courtney mentioned it, that's going to come out.
I'm trying to look at other crimes that might be connected to these perpetrators in the area or outside of the area. And one of the things I said was stolen credit cards could have possibly been one clue. So if somebody reported their credit card stolen, like a whole purse or something, then they better look into that person as maybe being the perpetrator of this crime.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm tying it together, because I'm always asked, a lot of people, when I'm on these cases, not only am I focusing on the case, but I'm looking at other cases. Sometimes we get 2 or 3 murders by the same person in different locations. So I have to tie Okay, do I see a market? Did the guy go into a market? Was Hams called into Moscow police this past month, and one complaint about Instagram hacking. Sadly, several DV stalking male refusing to leave. I found a peeping Tom from Boise.
Maybe because he wanted money for drugs, because drugs is such a big theme in this. Boy, there's so many good comments here. I'm sorry I'm not getting to everybody. Nofar says Kaylee was a Gemini, Madison a Taurus. And I talk about the second house, like an example of a chart where people it's a home invasion, mass killing, and because someone wants money. Well, that was the Manson murders. Charlie Manson told them to get all their money. I feel like there were some people who really wanted to get more of the perps.
I mean, I can give you some small details if you want. I feel ankle shoes, so I feel anything that covered the ankle. I was getting like work boots, lighter colored possibly. I was getting jeans. Okay. I was also getting a waffle knit type shirt, undershirt or something. I was getting possibly a hoodie type jacket. But weird. I know this sounds weird, but I thought I saw a coat with little pins on it, like, some kind of pins.
Maybe military, or maybe
Like, yeah, some possibly military type pins. Okay. I'm getting a watch that is possibly fake gold. So it would be a gold band, but not a Rolex. Close to the wrist, not bulky. I'm just looking for, oh, that couldn't be. That could not be. I was looking at tattoos. I don't want to say this because it might offend some, but it's very possible it is a military tattoo.
yeah.
I saw Ranger.
Whoa.
That's
Whoa.
very specific. And I'm not being biased. I'm just giving you what I got. I work with many, many military people, so I know the difference between all of them.
Do you think he has like a scar or a tattoo on his face? Because Chiron means tattoos. It can mean in Aries, it can mean like a military or like German type of tattoo, like a Nazi tattoo or something.
Well,
But
it's very close, very possible around the neck, maybe, but I'm not sure about
okay.
the face.
And sometimes it's not the face, sometimes it's just simply an Aries like theme, like something that's military. So, and age group, you were saying in the 20s, the last, anybody who wants to catch our last video, he talks a little bit about the ages.
Possibly. Although if we're talking Army, it would be a little bit later 20s to 30s. I'm only saying I'm feeling young, but
Cosmic Contrarian makes a good point. You don't slaughter four young people over credit cards. These killings are personal.
no,
So
no,
yes,
no, 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 no.
because of my chart, I'm thinking this is what you're going to see. So that's going to come out somehow, I think. It'll be an element, but it's a good point. It's probably not the motive.
I'm looking at cards of other people in the area that were. What I'm saying is, I don't think these people had money, and they would steal in order to get some money, whether it's to get some gas or something.
Mhm.
But no, this wasn't over credit cards.
Most of the thefts were reported around the local Walmart. I would love to talk to some local people.
Where do I get some possible theft at a gas station, possibly?
Oh, thank you, AD. Ranger, interesting. Guys, you guys are an awesome team. It's amazing how psychic clues and the chart, it just, things come in one after another sometimes. But we disagree sometimes. Sometimes we disagree. Delphi, I remember everybody was talking about how there were a lot of bones in from animals that were hanging in the in the woods near where the girls were found. Well, Pluto was at 18 degrees then. That's satanic. And here we have 18 again, but it's Saturn. So when you see 18, there's going to be some satanic stuff. And then you also have Jupiter, and it's conjunct the fixed star sheet, which is a huge tragedy. So it could, in the sixth house, like a stalking tragedy, could be something like that. Cosmic Contrarian says he's likely not older than 35 to 40. Liz is saying, did you see the perp taking a souvenir from the crime? You don't think so? Okay.
I don't think so, but they often do that. So that's a good question to ask. They sometimes that I get from very demented sick people. You know, they have to take a piece of the crime. They also have to revisit the scene of the crime too. And they do take something, but
now, this is interesting. Fairy magic. You heard this too. I have not heard this yet because everybody actually have been getting yelled at. They're like, it's not a sexual crime. But fairy magic says they've already said it was a sexually driven crime. So that's interesting. I wonder where
I'm
you're
not yelling at you.
I appreciate that. No Far says there's someone who responded to Kaylee a year ago. He was seen wearing a uniform supporting, that group, had a tattoo of a hand and a sentence from that group. I saw a picture that was going around. The guy loved knives and was dressed up and stuff. Yeah. So I think that there's got to be somebody on the task force, probably the FBI, that they're looking into some of these individuals and seeking them out.
Yeah, gangs, groups like that. Hold on. That's the other thing that I probably should have looked at. Are they part of some group? Not getting anything right now about that. I really thought they were rogue.
Yeah. Well, and when I see Mars is military at retrograde, it kind of shows somebody who, like, an example, I'm not saying that this is it, but it would be like, oh, he dropped out, or it could be somebody that was injured or somebody who couldn't get to the point where he wanted to get. Christina says, could perp have been a Gemini? And that's why it's coming up as two people. There is a lot of Gemini. Mars is in Gemini. Yes, when I see that, I think of it as two people. You were saying, John Baisley, hi, John. He is our favorite forensic astrologer. You can look on my channel, and we did a video. He says Aries brings military strength to the zodiac. So doesn't necessarily mean an area of the body, could simply mean military tattoo. Yes, exactly. And the seventh house could give a clue too. Seventh is Libra. So it could be like on a Libra part of the body. Ninja says, any other evil degrees? 18 is the worst one. 22 is a bad one too. That's the kill or be killed degree. So that could show something about the killer. Neptune could be like he was on drugs. Mars squaring that would be like he overdid it. When you see Mars squaring anything in Pisces, it usually shows abuse of something. So it looks like he just went for it. That's Mars. Like he took it too far.
I feel the perps lives with each other. No, I don't actually.
You don't think? Okay. So they know each other in some way, shape, or form. El Mendez is saying something about the X. I don't see anything about the X.
Still getting somebody from Washington, and it's possible one of them is local here, or local in Idaho there.
Yeah, this is a good question. Why the disinfo push that there was only one perp? I don't know if it's disinfo. I think it's just so rare that there are two people that would do something like this. So I'm
They
thinking,
may not, they honestly, they might not find the second one. I'm just getting an outcome of this, of finding one perpetrator and not finding out about the second one until later on.
okay.
So they're not a tight unit. I can see drug related.
Thanks, JJ Gems. Okay, reproductive organs, pelvis, urinary bladder, rectum, pelvis. I don't know.
Are
I
they
don't know.
talking about me, or are they talking about
Well, we're trying to figure out where this tattoo is, and it's in the 7th house. So it could simply just mean that
oh, so the tattoo would
yeah, the 7th house means the perpetrator. So the
lower
perpetrator,
that.
Chiron, had a tattoo, Aries, that was military. You could just simply say that, but there could be, like a big tattoo on his lower back. So thank you for that, JJ
Well, I'm
Jones.
not going to search for the one on his rectum. I can tell you that.
No, and we would not want you to.
Okay.
And-
Just
okay.
want to straighten that up.
Did they bring a dog in there? I don't know. I don't know.
I would imagine they, oh, well, there's going to be different dogs for different tasks. If they're doing out in the road, it's going to be most likely a search and rescue dog. They're going to bring a cadaver dog inside, of course, but they already, people think I'm actually funny.
Well, I think they're talking about me personally, but
Okay.
and I want to explain, sometimes we do, like, we joke around because you have to take a mental break sometimes.
No, I do that all the time in readings.
I'm going to make this final point, and then I want to talk about where people can find you because everybody's asking. This chart reminds me of Ted Bundy's natal chart. It's not exact, but I think he had a lot of planets in Scorpio. And his revenge was like one of his first girlfriends. He just wanted to get her back. So sometimes that can come up in the chart that it's not directly the victim, but the victim looks like somebody that they just absolutely resent or hate or something. So that's a possibility.
Did he use a knife or any other weapon?
He used a lot of now Bundy means an oak tree. Okay. It's like an Australian oak, right? And he used oak trees to kill some of these girls. Like, so that was one. He liked to use a lot of metal. He would use crowbars, and we had something on Ted Bundy, as a matter of fact. In one of my videos, we talk a lot about Ted Bundy's birth chart because Grace Wilson and I were going over that chart of Bundy and his crime chart. And I thought, oh, yes, thank you, Stacy. Please, everybody. Yeah, Nina, you're right. He would have tried to kill all the roommates. Now, remember, Bundy got scared that night, and it was some kind of light that went through the window.
The one place where you can really find me is my Facebook page. It's Todd Siegel, Psychic Detective.
We are praying for these families and the victims' families and their friends. And we will be on next time. I guess we'll put our heads together, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, I hope my main hope is that maybe there's somebody working on this case. Maybe it's a third party investigator.
Yeah, you've said that.
Is to actually do something.
Yeah.
That's really, really important. I think will they find information soon is really the question. I think they will. I'm getting a weird feeling now. I don't know if it's connected to this, but I'm seeing another university crime that could come up. I don't think related to this. So I'm giving you a prediction. I hope not. For some reason, I was getting Denver.
Okay.
So let's hope not.
Thank you, Jacqueline. That's really sweet. But Protected says that you brought up Sinclair, and there's a Sinclair gas station. Yeah, you had brought that up, and Sinclair is like a Scorpio name. So, and it trines Neptune, which is gas, or like gas station. So gas station, exotic gentlemen's clubs. There are a few places that I would hit and start asking questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry I said petrol station because my
Is you're
my
European?
background, yeah. But let's pray for the families here that they can get through. I think that's really important if they know we're here to help support them, to give them something, even closure.
Yeah.
So we're all working together.
All right. Well, thanks again, Todd, and we'll see you next time. Bye,
Okay.
all.